From the 1980s to the 90s, her children's stories regularly appeared in the Junior Express. In 2010, her book, Stories and Recipes from the Egg Lady, published by Hansen, was launched at the University of the West Indies Open Campus. The Egg Lady featured a collection of Ali's original short stories, local, regional, and international recipes, and the artwork of the internationally renowned Trinidadian artist, the late Ian Ali. In response to the popularity of the Egg Lady, Ali went on to write stories and recipes from the Indian dancer in the same format. Published in 2014, it has been warmly received, winning a silver Addy from the Caribbean Advertising Federation, the CAF Awards, in the book design category in 2015. In 2023, this year, she published Bahia Girl, Bahia Girl, a romance novella. And I'd like to bring to the stage at this point in time, Ms. Carolyn Ali.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much to the organizers of the Bocas Lit Fest for this invitation to read from Carolyn Ali's Bahia Girl. My name is Patty Ann Ali. I'm Mrs. Ali's daughter, and my sister Joanne is also here. I'm going to be doing the reading. Before I begin, I just want to apologize to the other writers for having to leave as soon as I'm finished. This is due to prior commitment, but Mrs. Ali and my sister will be here right to the end, listening to your work. So now I have to invite Mrs. Ali to briefly set the excerpt in context, and then I will do the reading.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
A little bit of the backstory. The story of Bahia Girl started about 100 years ago during the Spanish flu epidemic and ended in 2022 at the tail end of the COVID epidemic. Roger had discovered the secret, unfulfilled romance of his great-grandfather, after whom he was named, through letters written by Felicia's great-grandmother to him, the great-grandfather. Now, back to 2022. Roger and Felicia corresponded mainly through emails. From their emails to each other, it is obvious they are falling in love. Neither one knows what the other one looks like. Felicia says that she does not want to send Roger a photo of herself. She prefers to wait until she can see him in person. As a result, Roger never sent her a photo of himself. Roger was fortunate that circumstances led him to be able to afford to fly to Bahia, Brazil, to meet Felicia for the first time. In preparation for his trip to Bahia, Roger went to his doctor, Dr. B. Mohammed, for a checkup. Dr. Mohammed wanted to find out more about Roger's pen pal, Felicia. Dr. Mohammed asked to see a photo of her, and Roger confessed he did not have a photo. To this news, Dr. Mohammed sounded a word of warning, telling Roger, some unscrupulous people use the internet as a weapon to fool innocent people. He warned Roger to be careful. I will now ask Patty to read the excerpt where Roger flies to Bahia to meet his newfound love, Felicia.
He quietly hummed under his breath the melody to Bahia Girl, grinning as he remembered he was so besotted with Felicia that he sang the tune to anything he could find in the house. He sang to the bedpost, beating out the rhythm with his fingers. He hummed to the shoe stand. When he went out to the letterbox to collect mail, he was so touched by his mother's beautiful garden, hibiscus, bougainvillea, marigolds, petunias, and other blossoming plants. He serenaded the flowers by humming the chorus of Bahia Girl. Finally, the announcement was made on the third and final leg of his trip that the flight would soon be landing in Bahia, Brazil. All the appropriate reminders were given. Roger checked his hand luggage to ensure, excuse me, the gifts he brought were still intact. He hoped he made the right choice of gifts and the intended recipients would appreciate his efforts. The flight landed and Roger disembarked. He was glad he had sent the flag so it would be easy for him to identify Felicia, especially if she wore the tie-dye scarf he sent her. That was why he had mailed her the parcel about 4 weeks before his departure, to make sure she received it in time. From a distance, Roger saw his national flag being waved. His heart thumped with joy that Felicia was actually at the airport waving his national flag in welcome. When he got closer, he saw a plump, middle-aged, grey-haired lady waving his flag and smiling at him. She was sensibly dressed in a pale blue pantsuit and low-heeled sandals. Roger stumbled to the closest wall and rested his head on it. He could not believe what he was seeing. The lady reminded Roger of his granny. Oh God, no, I've been fooled. I have been writing to a fraud. I fell in love with a hoaxer, thought Roger miserably, and he remembered Dr. Mohammed's warning. Roger felt choked by the bitterness of his disappointment. Just then he said to himself, this is the lady who kept me sane with her loving and caring emails. The past year has been a happy and joyful one for me because of her. She may not have been what I expected, but I will not embarrass her. Roger dredged up a smile from deep inside and plastered it on his face and attempted to go and meet her. Just then, a security guard came up to him and asked if he was feeling okay. The guard picked up his luggage and told Roger to follow him, and he, the guard, will show him where he could buy a bottle of water. Roger was confused. Should he follow the guard or go to meet the lady in blue? With his head bent to prevent the tears from spilling down his cheeks, he meekly followed the guard. From the corner of his tear-clouded eye, Roger saw another flutter. Behind the lady in blue, waving a Trinidad and Tobago flag, was a stunning lady. She was wearing a dark grey calf-length skirt and a white peasant blouse, barely skimming her smooth caramel shoulders. Tied around her waist was the tie-dye scarf Roger had sent her. Seeing the scarf was proof enough that yes, this is his Felicia. Her arms were outstretched and she was running towards him, a happy, welcoming smile on her face. What an exotic beauty, thought Roger as he rushed into her arms. Wow, Felicia is so beautiful, I couldn't wish for anything else. Roger was mesmerized by the sight of Felicia with her long, flowing black hair that framed her pert, pretty face. Her sparkling brown eyes and dazzling smile gave him a memory to last a lifetime. Roger crushed her in his arms and smothered her face with kisses. Relief flooded his soul and he did not want to let her go. He had waited for so long for this moment and here it was at last. He would always treasure the memory of seeing his fee for the first time, not forgetting the nightmare of the lady in blue. Whenever he thought of her, which was every waking moment of his life, since connecting with her, he always called her fee in his head. He forgot about the water he was supposed to have to revive him. Having seen Felicia, he was totally revived. On their way out of the airport, after hugging and kissing Felicia a million times, Roger said to her, "What was that about?" his chin pointing to the airport. "Oh, that was Auntie Violet. She wanted to see your reaction. She has reservations about pen pals and wanted to make sure you are for real. Your stumble at the wall was proof enough that you were devastated. You look so forlorn and disappointed. I thought you might decide to get back on the plane. I was deciding to turn around and go back, but it did not feel like the honorable thing to do. The security guard came and picked up my luggage and offered to show me where to get some water. What would you have done if I had decided to get back on the plane? Thank you."